One simple cracker, 16 possibilities. I'm showing you 16 ways you can spice up saltine crackers. There's a lot more you can do with these besides crumbling up into your chili or chicken noodle soup, although that is delicious. I'm gonna begin by sharing some sweet and savory snacks I love to do with saltines, starting with my favorite treat, the Alabama Firecracker. This is a great no-cook snack, but it also doubles as a great food gift because it lasts a long time and it's pretty inexpensive to make a lot of crackers. It is shocking because it is maybe not the healthiest thing you've ever seen, but it just works and it's one of the most delicious things. So it starts with oil. Classically, this is made with vegetable oil. I've made it a little healthier by using avocado oil, but it's a lot. To that, a couple packets of ranch seasoning. You can make a batch of these and they last so long, like I swear like a couple months just sitting in your pantry. 3 tablespoons of crushed red pepper. I mean, it sounds like it would be inedible, but I'm telling you, it just works. I don't know how. Then some garlic powder and onion powder and a little black pepper. Give this a mix. This is really a showstopper when you want to add it to your charcuterie platters or just your normal cheese and cracker platter, because you're not putting something out basic. This thing is mind-blowing. Sounds like I'm being dramatic, but I'm not. All right, you can get an extra large bag with all the crackers in there. It's gonna be a whole box. There's just something nostalgic about a saltine cracker. It's what everyone's mom gave you when you weren't feeling too well. They're a little magical. Then you take this deliciousness right here and pour it right in. I know some of y'all are gonna be telling me that I should put this in the oven and cook it, you know, at 200 or 250, but you don't have to. Gently toss them. You don't wanna break all of them. Now, they are not ready. They have to absorb all the flavor, so the best thing to do is to do this a day before. It says at least 8 hours, but I would say 24 hours. And just wait, because I know you're probably thinking, that looks gross. Let me show you what they look like after a day. Here's a batch we did yesterday. Look at this. It has absorbed the flavors. It's not just soaking in oil, but is it soggy? Listen to this. They might be a little indulgent, but I'm telling you 1,000,000% worth it. Let me show you my favorite way to serve them up. Add them to your charcuterie board, or what we do down here in Alabama with the Alabama Firecracker, serve it with some pimento cheese. It's also not that spicy. It's just like the perfect amount of kick, kind of hits you in the back. This right here is a perfect bite. 25 out of 10. Speaking of magical treats, we are doing magic meatball crackers because the way this comes together is kind of magical. Mix up meatballs however you like it, or I have the recipe. Take your meatball mix and spread it directly onto your cracker. You're making little meatball subs, and you're gonna take a piece of cheese and another cracker. Okay. Trust the process. Don't wanna do too much. It's a very thin layer. As these cook, the flavor from the meat is going to absorb into the cracker a little bit in the best way. Just gonna heighten that meatball sub experience. Got a little olive oil. I'm gonna add a little garlic, kind of make it a little like garlic bread, and just brush the tops very lightly. This is an easy appetizer, and it makes so many. Then we just bake them for about 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going 325. Does not take long for that little bit of meat to cook and that cheese to get all melty. Look at that. You can tell that meat is cooked through. To serve them, put them on a tray with a little marinara for dipping. Or some little perfect bite Italian snacks. Woo! I'm gonna pretty them up with a little parsley. If you're looking for something different to serve at your next party, this might be that. A little swim through the sauce. It is magical. It's called Magic Meatball Cracker for a reason. Tastes just like a perfect bite of a sub with the toasty, crusty bread at the end, you know? This is definitely the trick you need to pull out next. You've probably seen this next one before, a little sweet snack, we're turning saltine crackers into chocolatey toffee. So start by lining your crackers in a single layer on a baking sheet. I've got mine lined with parchment paper just for easy removal later. And then we're just going to melt some butter and brown sugar together. A cup of each. Bring that to a boil and let it cook for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, we're gonna pour this straight over the crackers. Just kind of act fairly quickly because it'll start to really thicken up. Now this goes into the oven, 400 degrees for about 5 minutes. Turning crackers into candy. Okay, so when it comes out, we're gonna sprinkle over some chocolate chips and let them melt. So let it sit for about 3 or 4 minutes and then we'll spread it out and it will naturally melt. If you wanted a satisfying food craft, this is that. You can get lost in it. While that's melty, it will act as a glue to hold on the chopped pecans. As you can see, it's quite easy to make a whole tray full of candy. You gotta let that set for at least 30 minutes or so. Once it's all set up like this, we can break it apart. No need to cut it perfectly. It's more fun to just like break it up. You know that's gonna be good. Buttery bottoms, chocolatey tops. This is not the kind of toffee that breaks your teeth, which is why I like it. A little craggly edges. Get that perfect layer of toffee right there. It's absorbed into the cracker. Come on now. I think this is what a lot of people make. Put it in your cookie tins over the holidays, but make it year round. Put this next to that barbecue spread for the 4th of July. Nobody's gonna be mad at that. You already know I'm gonna like this. If you guessed it's because I love sweet and salty, then you are correct. It's buttery, it's rich, it's not too sweet, a little hint of salt. This is my perfect dessert. And to think it all started with a simple saltine cracker. Another baked hot appetizer, quick serve on a saltine, a spicy tuna melt. I mean, we've always put tuna on our saltine crackers, right? But have you heated it up and turned it into a tuna melt? Well, it's as easy as it sounds. Use your favorite tuna recipe, tuna salad recipe, place it on your saltine, and then I'm putting it on a foil-lined baking sheet. You could easily do this as just a snack for yourself or do it as a party appetizer. And you could also just kind of pop these in the air fryer for a couple minutes. And top it with some cheddar cheese, or you could do American cheese if you want. To turn it into a spicy tuna melt, a thin slice of jalapeno. Things don't have to be complicated, people. Just take familiar favorites and kind of serve them up in a new way, and all of a sudden it's a whole new thing. About 7 minutes, 400, look what you get. So cute. Here's what I'm loving, is some of the cheese has dripped off the side and cooked, so you get that little like cheese crisp attached to it as it cools. Tuna on crackers is one of my favorite snacks since I was maybe 6 years old, so I'm gonna love this. And turning that into a tuna melt is the upgrade we all needed. That's an A+. We're on a roll. I'm gonna show you how to use saltines as a breading, a binder, and a topping. Did you know saltine crackers are the perfect binder in crab cakes, salmon cakes, meatloaf, meatballs. You can crush them finely and then they easily absorb any excess moisture, and they offer a little flavor because they have a little salty touch. So I've got some crab cakes here. Of course, we will link a recipe, but just know that this is a suggestion to what you could do to any of your favorite recipes that I mentioned. So I've just got a mixture here of lump crab meat with some green onions, a little Dijon mustard, some Worcestershire, a little lemon, and I'm gonna add in some mayonnaise. Season it up with a little Old Bay. There's an egg in here also, and the mixture is pretty loose. That's not gonna form a substantial cake, so you have to kind of add your binder. And for that, today is gonna be saltine cracker. This is always how my mother-in-law makes her crab cakes. Of course, you don't want too much. You don't want crab cakes or salmon cakes to be all breading. So just about 8 crackers is perfect. And then as it sits, it will continue to absorb and become less wet. You can see how it already kind of sucked up some of that extra moisture. You could fry them up just like that. I like to give them another little coating in some breadcrumbs. You could also just do some crackers here, but I'm gonna show you crackers as a breading in a minute. And I'm gonna show you how perfectly they fry up. Just a side note, when I cook my crab cakes or anything like this, I usually just brown them in the skillet and then finish them in the oven. I think that's the most foolproof way. Beautiful crab cakes. They look perfect. I'll have to show you the inside to really prove it. I love my crab cakes with a little remoulade, maybe a squeeze of lemon. Let's see what the inside looks like. Perfect. It held together, but you can definitely see all the crab in there. The cracker is just kind of barely hidden in there. Gonna add flavor and moisture. Wow, that was a good one. Sometimes you get crab cakes, salmon cakes, even the meatloaf, and all you taste is like mushy bread. That doesn't happen here with cracker as your binder. Now let me show you cracker as a breading. And what better breading to have it on than fried chicken? Easiest way to bread things in a Ziploc bag. This is just a classic Southern style thing to do. So I'm just gonna crush up some saltines in here, about 30. They're so dry that they're easy to crush with your hand. However, for this, I want them a little bit finer. And now we're gonna add a couple things to here. This is like a saltine cracker shake and bake situation. Little trick, some potato flakes or dried mashed potatoes. It's gonna help it get crispy. A little flour, seasoned salt, might be a lot, and some pepper. Then you take your chicken, we can go a couple at a time. Just dip them in the egg and then into your cracker mixture. This will work with cube steaks, fish, chicken tenders. Pull it out, you can see those cracker crumbs stuck to the chicken. I can tell you right now, this is gonna be some crunchy chicken. That is some crunch right there. Am I right? I do like a little gravy. I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's just finish it out, right? Perfectly cooked. This is what we like. Crunchy on the outside, juicy on the inside. Whoa, that is good. Crackers add the perfect crunch, but also a little salty flavor, and with the seasoned salt, but oh my gosh. Quite possibly one of the best pieces of fried chicken I've had in a long time. You're gonna wanna remember this one. Surely you know about this one, saltine crackers as a topping. We are making old-fashioned Southern style scalloped corn. It makes one of the most delicious, crunchy toppings on any casserole, and I'm here for it. Take your saltines and crush them up. This doesn't have to be super fine. You kind of want them to be a little craggly. We need a cup total. Some's gonna go inside and some on the top. Doing a simple scalloped corn starts with cream corn, 3 cans. Not in the recipe, but because I like a little texture, I'm adding in 1 can of regular corn that I've drained, half a stick of melted butter, a couple eggs, and about half of our cracker crumbs. This is going to absorb some of that cream corn so that it has a little structure. This goes into a greased casserole dish. And then what we came for are the crackers as a topping. I'm gonna do more than it calls for because the topping is the best part. Of course, a lot of casseroles you see the buttery cracker as the topping. I really like the saltines here because they absorb the flavor of the butter, but they also stay a little crunchier than those buttery crackers. A little paprika and some cracked pepper. Make sure all the cracker crumbs are well coated and then sprinkle it on top. All right, and this just goes into the oven, 350 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes. Oh, smells so good. That looks good. You can tell the crunchiness of the topping here. That's thanks to saltines. Sometimes those round buttery crackers don't get this crunchy. But this is unfortunately one of those casseroles where you're gonna have to let it sit for a while before we can dig in. I know you can see that this hack already works, but I'll taste it for you. The crunch from that topping is the perfect contrast to that creamy corn. Saltine crackers as a topping is a no-brainer. Okay, this is one of my favorite tricks with the saltine, turning it into salad. A Georgia cracker salad is a thing. It is like a tomato salad meets a tomato sandwich. The cracker is gonna act as the bread in like a classic tomato sandwich. If you're from the South, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Tomato, some green onion, a little hard-boiled egg. Listen, you gotta trust me on this one. And then sort of a lot of mayonnaise. Lots of pepper, like how you like on your tomato sandwich. A little bit of salt. As those tomatoes get a little juicy, this is gonna act as a dressing. Perfect for this. All right, and then we're gonna add in a whole sleeve of crackers. I remember when I saw this, at first I thought it was a joke. But then I made it, and I was like, I will be doing that again. Listen, it makes sense, okay? You have put, you know, a little mayonnaise on a cracker with a little tomato before, right? Or maybe you've had egg salad on a saltine cracker. Same concept. So bring this to your next barbecue, see what happens. I think you'll be the hit of the party. Cracker salad for the win, trust me. I'm gonna dig in straight from this bowl, because I can. I know you don't want it to be good, but you can't deny it. Also reminds me of like when you eat your salad with a cracker. If you don't do anything else from today's episode, do that. I might blow your mind with this one. We can use saltine crackers as a thickener. I've actually done this before with a chowder type soup. Today I'm making what is called chicken mull. Never heard of it? Me either. But when I was researching things to do with saltine crackers, this popped up from Southern Living, and it looks delicious. Not only are we using the saltine cracker to thicken the broth, but it's really a main ingredient to this soup. This is more like a Southern-style chicken stew with crackers as the thickener. I've gone ahead and boiled a whole chicken and created a really delicious broth right here. Taken the chicken out and shred it. Now, for the magic. First, I know what you're thinking. This might be gross and soggy. I trust the process. A whole sleeve of saltines. We're gonna cook that for about 3 minutes. Let those crackers get good and soft, and then blend it up. You'll never know they were there. We really do need to make sure the crackers are mushy before we blend, or else it won't incorporate as well. But if you ever do, I've done this before, like if you're making a clam chowder or something and you need your cream mixture a little thicker, saltine cracker works perfectly in there. It also imparts a nice, like mild flavor, hint of saltiness. Look how smooth and velvety that is. I mean, that right there is kind of magical. To finish this off, add the chicken back in, along with some heavy cream. How have we not heard about this before? Taste the seasoning. Yum. My kids would eat this up. Okay, let me show you how they serve this one. It's like chicken and dumplings flavor, but in a much easier package. Now, you don't have to do this, but you can. Serve it with more crackers, which is how we like our chicken soup usually anyway, right? My son will love this because when he's making his chicken noodle soup, he puts so many crackers in it, you almost have to eat it with a fork. And hot sauce is suggested. Doesn't that look good? Going in for that perfect bite now that it's all dressed up. I wish I could explain to you how much better this is than I even expected. The flavor is perfection. It is perfectly creamy without feeling like super indulgent. I just can't wait to bring this home tonight to my kids. They're gonna love it. This is the one to keep in your file in the fall when Thanksgiving rolls around, because you can turn these saltine crackers into dressing. Southern style cracker dressing. It is a thing. Now you might be saying, my grandmother always put crackers in with her dressing, but probably that was in combination with biscuits or cornbread. But in this recipe, the crackers are the only bread. Telling you what, it's a lot easier than making cornbread. A whole box of saltines crushed up. To that, the usual, some sauteed onions and celery, and a bunch of butter. This has sage and thyme, a little cayenne pepper, salt and pepper. Smells like Thanksgiving dressing. And you gotta moisten it up with chicken broth, and then an egg, and a little milk. Throw in some fresh herb in there too. Into a greased casserole dish. Smooth it out. And then this goes into the oven, 375 degrees for about 40 minutes or so. Smells like Thanksgiving. Looks a little dry on top, but I can hear a little bubbling underneath, so I'm hopeful. Let's see how it tastes. Looks pretty good. Looks like traditional Thanksgiving dressing, if you ask me. It works. It works. These saltine crackers have yet to disappoint me. What I like is how moist this dressing is, because sometimes you get it and it's just too dry. The moisture factor is there. The flavor is right on. Tastes just like a traditional Thanksgiving dressing, Southern style. Slightly gummier than a cornbread dressing. I think it would be an A+ 100 if we mixed the saltine crackers with a little cornbread. If you're looking for something convenient, a box of crackers is just as easy as that stovetop stuff, and this is better than that. Now my next trick is a little bit of an experiment, but I'm kind of excited about it and scared. Saltine cracker pancakes could work. Just happened to stumble across this one when I was doing my research. We're just kind of gonna make this one up as we go. The recipe I saw said you could soak these in water and then strain out the water. So we're making like a little batter that I feel like you could just soak them in milk. So I'm just gonna pour just enough milk to cover and let it sit until it's mushy. Just enough to reach the top. These aren't like fluffy bread pancakes. These are more like hoe cakes, or some sort of like, that's what it's called. These aren't gonna be like soft pancakes. These are gonna be more like a corn cake, almost like a toasted biscuit or something. I'm gonna add in an egg, go in with some sugar and some cinnamon, a splash of vanilla. It's not the most attractive thing, guys, but I try these things so you don't have to. Let's cook it up like we do pancakes. Butter down. All right, here goes. Kind of looks like oatmeal pancakes. All of a sudden, it's not so scary. I don't know what to think. I'm worried that they're gonna fall apart when I go flip it. It's kind of sticking together. Although I guess I did use them as a binder, so they are binding on their own. There goes nothing. Kind of looks like a pancake on top. I can't get over how like smooth they are on the top, like a pancake. And they're like regular pancakes. The first ones are never the prettiest. I'm beginning to think when the end of the world comes, everybody needs to be stocked up on saltines. Looks like you can make anything. I'm afraid it's still gonna be soggy. I feel like some fruit might be nice, especially if we need to hide any flavor. And then maple syrup. It's gotta be good. Okay, wish me luck. Wow, it cut like a pancake. I'll be damned. Not only does that work, it's actually really good. The crunch it gives it on the outside, that cinnamon we put in there, y'all, this one kind of blows my mind. It is tender inside. It's moist but not gummy and not soggy. You gotta let it cook long enough to where it feels firm. But I mean, look at that. The inside of that looks just like a pancake. Might be the most mind-blowing one of the day. A dessert recipe that uses saltines as a main ingredient, not just a happy accident, is a classic Atlantic Beach pie. The crust features saltine crackers. I'll start by whisking up an egg white. It's gonna help hold the cracker crust together. And then 2 cups of finely crushed saltines. Maybe this is why they call it Atlantic Beach pie, because I feel like the crust is gonna look like the seashore on the Atlantic coast. Also just made that up. But if I'm right, I'm smart. I'm gonna add this to the egg along with melted butter and some sugar. Sweeten it up a bit. Make sure everything's well coated and then we press it into our pie plate. On the bottom and up the sides. All right, that is how you turn the crackers into a crust. You have to freeze this for about 10 minutes and then bake it for about 10 minutes at 350. Now I just have to mix up the filling. In this bowl, I've got sweetened condensed milk with 4 egg yolks. To that, I'm adding 1/4 cup of lemon juice and lime juice. So very similar to a key lime pie meets a lemon icebox pie. You can see where I'm going. Okay, and then lemon zest and lime zest and a little bit of vanilla. Pour this into the crust while it's a little bit warm and then it goes into the oven 350 degrees for just about 15 minutes. Then you let it cool, let it chill, slice it up. Here she is in all her glory. This is my favorite kind of pie. That crust cut beautifully. Fresh whipped cream. To me, it's perfect, but you can add a little more zest if you want. That is festive, and I'm excited. That crust, though. That works. The crust really, it's not overly sweet, like sometimes graham cracker crust can be. So it's letting that filling shine. And taste just the crust. That's a winner. I don't know who invented this recipe, but I'm here for it. And I will be using saltine crackers to make a crust again. Saltines are the star of the show. In this dessert, it is called soda cracker pie, so typically made with soda crackers, but saltines work just fine. I'm gonna start by beating egg whites until they're stiff peaks. Stiff peaks. I'm gonna incorporate the sugar, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. This is gonna make it get fluffy. And 20 saltines that have been finely crushed. Also a cup of chopped pecans and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I feel like this could get really sticky. Pie plate, grease it, mixture right in. I feel like this is some sort of magic dessert too. And this just goes into the oven, 325 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes, and then we let it cool completely. Look at this soda cracker pie. Looks like a giant cookie, but very tender. Never had a pie like this before. When I was reading about it, it seems like this kind of pie is a perfect canvas for whatever you really want to put on top or serve with it. I like the suggestion of topping it with some whipped cream and then a sprinkle of cinnamon. Never eaten this many crackers in a day, I can tell you that. Inside almost looks like there's a little gooiness, sort of like in a pecan pie, which I wasn't expecting, so kind of excited about that. I didn't know what to expect, and it's better than I thought it was gonna be. Like almost everything else has been today. The bottom has that like delightful chewiness to it. Almost like the pecan pie was cooked longer than normal. Like it doesn't have that like gooey, but the chewy, I can't even describe it. And then the top is so light, it almost melts in your mouth. That crackly, light sugar topping. I sort of got worried thinking that this might be like just a dry, crumbly situation. It's sweet, it's chewy, it's light and airy at the same time. This is a pie I would make again. Ice cream plus saltines, saltine ice cream sandwich. This is not a joke. If you are a fan of ice cream with French fries, then this one's for you. It is what it is. I'll show you how to make it, but I think you get the picture. Got a caramel swirl, vanilla ice cream. So I think that sounds really good. And you put the top cracker on, give it a little smush. And then you take the end of a butter knife or a little spatula, smooth the edges. Okay, ice cream sandwich. I mean, you could just go straight in and eat it, but let it freeze together because you won't believe it. Because what I thought was the cracker's gonna get soggy. Remember how sometimes we keep our chips and popcorn in the freezer and they stay crunchy? Somehow it's like the same science. And trust me, this is better than doing it with cookies. So you get the idea. Pop these in the freezer and watch. Here they are frozen. I'm just gonna dig right in before I show you what else you can do with it, just to show you that it's still crunchy and not soggy. Telling you, this is gonna be something that you start doing. It's gonna become a regular thing in your house. This is the perfect like nighttime treat. Another thing I love is that the cracker, even though this all just came straight from the freezer, is not so cold you can't bite into it. So they're delicious just like this. If you wanna make them extra special, get some melted chocolate, give it a little Dunkaroo, and then pop them back in the freezer. Or you can do this before you freeze them to begin with. If you don't try this one, I'm gonna be mad at you. Now the next dessert scares me just a little bit. Saltine cracker pudding. Who is that? Saltine cracker pudding is up next. This could go either way. This could be a soggy mess, or it could be delicious. So far, these crackers have not let me down, not once. I've got 4 cups of milk heating up. To that, I'm gonna add in a cup of sugar, 1 cup of coconut, and 2 cups of our crackers that I've crushed up. I'm just gonna bring this up to a simmer until that sugar dissolves. There are several ways you could make this. I'm not really following our recipe, but I combined a bunch of recipes to figure out the best way. This seems like the best way. So once this is really hot, we're going to temper the eggs. This is just how you make vanilla custard. This is whole eggs, not just the yolks though. So we're gonna take some of this warm mixture into here, heat this up a little bit, and then pour it all in. We don't wanna have scrambled eggs. So the eggs are really gonna thicken it and turn it into pudding. Just gonna bring this up to a simmer and let it cook until it's thickened. It'll take about 5 minutes. Okay, so look how thick it got. Finish it off with a little vanilla. And then, because I'm going to picture this as my grandmother's rice pudding, she always put raisins in it. And it says you can put raisins in it. So I'm going to. All right, now we refrigerate it until it's cold. Transfer it to a bowl. I'm really taking one for the team here on this one. But I want to do everything you can do with saltines. Here goes nothing. You can see how thick it sets up. I'm gonna picture Mama's rice pudding. It's just a simple, sweet dessert. The coconut adds a little texture in there. I am pleased to say it doesn't taste like mushy crackers. That's all I was really worried about. It's not as good as rice pudding, but it works. This is another use of crackers as a good thickener. Just adds bulk. Not my favorite of the day, but I'd probably eat it again. We're bringing it home with my favorite childhood snack. I would be remiss to do a whole saltine episode without showing the most obvious way to serve up a saltine, which is the base for the most delicious snacks. I'm gonna show you two. It's a 2-for-1 special. If you followed me for a minute, then you know about this snack. This is what my mom, still to this day, will put out as an appetizer cracker. It's really best if you do 4 at a time. Cheese, American cheese. You fold it once and then again. And you get 4 slices that fit perfectly on a saltine. Little mayo on each cracker, cheese on top. See how it fits perfect? Piece of American cheese. And then a dill pickle. Not the expensive kind, the kind you had when you were a kid. This right here is the original perfect bite. This is the one. Haven't had it in a minute. If you want to know where the perfect bite came from, this one. I give my mom credit for making up the perfect bite, but it was with this snack. Here's a fancy version, but still not fancy. You know, a saltine is the definition of when I say sometimes the simplest things are the best. I learned this one from, I think she is the cheese gal on TikTok. I mean, I've always put butter on my crackers. That's not the trick. Sprinkle of flaky salt. Still haven't hit the surprising element. Squeeze of a lemon. That just sounds so good. Cheers. The lemon heightens the whole experience. Oh my God. Pour me a glass of wine to go with that. And also because I think I deserve it. I've just shown you 16 incredible things to do with saltine crackers, most of which I bet you've never done before. But trust me when I tell you, they are worth it. A lot of magic in this box.